pounds, Jacksonville, Florida, welcome Jose Soto. His opponent in the red corner, the black and yellow striped trunks, fighting out of Tampa, Florida. 125.5 pounds, a won and lost record of 16, 1 and 2 with 5 KOs, Francisco Arreola. 10 rounds, featherweight.
Francisco Arreola. Well, can you imagine what his nickname is by the trunks he wears? They call him the Fighting Tiger, El Tigre. And Francisco coming in 16, 1 and 2 with 5 knockouts. As you see, Frankie Santori running the show in the ring. We showed you the video earlier of Francisco fighting here a couple months ago, suffering a really bad cut against Sonny Long, but Augie Rodriguez, his manager trainer, saying the cut is fully healed and he's ready to get back into the ring.
You can see, though, that Arreola has little scar tissue. Larry, it's going to be a concern that that cut might open up the first time he gets back in the ring after, he had 7 stitches to sew that thing up.
About 6 weeks to let it heal.
He called that fight against Sonny Long a great learning experience, I guess so. Being in there with a big tough kid, but Francisco, Augie Rodriguez saying, ready to fight for a title in the United States Boxing Association, really feeling that Francisco is, in terms of his weight division, can fight anyone in North America.
Jose Soto's last fight was over in Paris a month ago. He lost the decision. A month before that, he fought in London. He also lost the decision. So he hasn't done too well going abroad, but here he is in Jacksonville trying to take on a guy from Tampa, Francisco Arreola.
I tell you, Francisco, he always impressed me. Last time I saw him, really impressed me. And he can switch up either hand. And it's very confident. I see a lot of great things happening.
I tell you what, showed tremendous character too. Sat in here last month, the last big time boxing card, and watched his little brother Tony suffer a very tough defeat. As one of our announcers, as a matter of fact, Frisco wants to be a boxing announcer. Later on, I told him not to rush things any.
Nice left kick there by Arreola. Jose Soto, from Huntington, Texas, in the green trunks.
Soto draws a warning from Frank Santori for wrapping that arm around the neck of Arreola. Holding on there. Just a warning, though.
Arreola said he planned to feel out Soto in the first round and doesn't know much about it. Trying to figure out his stop. Lands a couple of hits.
Moving southpaw style here. Probably more of an experiment than anything else.
Fuego's a good boxer. He was switching up. What he's doing now, just taking his time to feel like it's see what he's got.
What an amateur record. 268 wins, 17 losses for Arreola, who is a native of Mexico. At one time, he has 4 brothers. All of the fighters at one time, they made up the entire fight card at amateur night.
Soto content to counterpunch pretty much here in round 1. Able to get on first. Francisco, not with the good crisp punches we've seen from him in the past.
He's going to be a little careful. I
We'll be back with round 2 right after this time. Round 2 underway in our main event. Featherweights, Francisco Arreola in the yellow against Jose Soto in the green trunks. This Jacksonville, Florida, first round. Francisco Arreola, as you can see, with 70 punches, 20 men to 26% of, so you'd have to say that he had a real distinct advantage in that first round.
I thought he landed definitely the heavier of the blows too, and that's the style of Arreola. He'll throw a lot of punches, give you a lot of different looks, and that's the key. As former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes will tell you, throw those punches in combinations. That's where your real damage is done over the long term. As as I recall it. You got a jab of your own there, Larry.
Not like this guy Soto is doing.
In a totally defensive posture is Soto. The left hand extended. You don't really know, it's amazing. Of course, having been a big heavyweight, you don't really see the good, crisp, the sharp jabs in the heavyweight division that we used to see, of course, with Ali and then later on with you.
Soto coming back with a right hand and temporarily stood up Francisco. It really didn't hurt him, but he has fighted very few punches in this fight, as Barry said. Soto fighting a defensive battle all the way here for the first 2 rounds.
Well, you see Soto being very aggressive inside, using his head for leverage in there, working against Arreola, throwing a lot of punches in tight there. Francisco doubling up on the left hand, scoring again there.
Nice right to the body by Arreola.
See, Francisco got to be careful in there because this is where our head can come in there and open up the counter. He don't want to do that. This guy Soto there, he's just coming in there and throwing punches and trying to get out.
Rather odd style there, the way he sticks up that left hand. Jab, he just sort of uses it as a fighting ram or a direction fighter.
Almost as if to measure Arreola, but he doesn't follow it up with anything. He's not throwing the right hand, he's just sticking it left out there. It looks like for defense.
And if you notice, every time we get in contact, Soto will stay there with that head. And he's got to be very careful.
And away from referee Frank Santori. Left hand by Arreola.
Some good action here. We'll be back for the third round in just a moment. Main event featherweights. Francisco Arreola against Jose Soto. Soto in the green trunks has really not done too much the first 2 rounds. Arreola has completely controlled the fight.
Given the first 2 rounds, man, too, Francisco Arreola, my scores at 10-9. Arreola really landed an outstanding body shot right at the end of round 2. That had Soto standing straight up in his corner, staring Arreola down as he walked away, and now Frank Santori gives Soto the warning for using the head.
This is a good fight for Francisco because Arreola, he's a veteran, he's been out there and he's trying everything he can do to throw him off. So this is a good fight for a good test.
And you're exactly right. Aubrey Rodriguez talking about getting Francisco more international competition. You're going to see this kind of stuff, especially from the Europeans and the South Americans.
Arreola, very obvious, is going for the body, and then he changes up and tries to hit Soto in the head, but he's mixing up his attack, Larry, and going to the body and the head.
So Soto a little bit upward too in style. Francisco having been a little bit frustrated with that defensive style that Soto's throwing on him. Style now. Soto going to the southpaw.
Francisco Arreola in the yellow, really working the body and the head. Some nice combinations, Barry Milligan and Larry Holmes, as he takes on Jose Soto in our main event tonight here in Jacksonville.
He threw a good left uppercut, and then he came back later on with that good left right to the body, and it was good.
Hold the fight. Barry, you have him winning all the way.
Yep, 3 rounds to none so far for Arreola. Really, the only offensive guy in the ring right now, Arreola. Look at that difference, 233 to 59 in terms of punches thrown. Soto just about strictly defense. They do give points for defense, but you don't win with defense.
Well, the crowd, you heard some booing there as Soto sort of wrapped his arms around Francisco, sort of in, I think, in frustration more than anything else, and hitting him on top of the head. Francisco comes back and he's landing punches. Up goes. He pins his man into the corner. And Larry, I think Soto wants to fight. He's fixed to be on a defensive move the whole way.
Soto's strategy is wrong. I think he's trying to make this guy punch himself out. And we've seen him fight before, and he don't run out again just that easy. So he's in serious trouble if he's thinking that Francisco's going to punch himself out.
That's right. I think you characterized it last round very accurately there, and you said Soto is a survivor. He's doing whatever he needs to do to stay in this fight and looking for perhaps that one big opportunity.
Because he's not tightening up on that hand. And you cannot knock a guy out like that. You got to learn to tighten up on that hand and put the body along with those punches.
So Soto taking some heavy shots here. Again in round 4, as we've seen the last couple of rounds, offering little or no offense, except for a few counter punches here and there.
And Soto's used to this kind of fight. You know, he's used to taking these shots. As you see, you look at Soto's face, there's no bruises.
Big left.
With no bruises, no marks, no wear and tear showing on the body.
Have one of those Ernie Shavers kinds of heads.
Bingo, bingo. Stop, break.
Larry, I think Jose Soto from Mexico, the Mexican fighters known to be tough, and I'll tell you, they're tough. They don't quit.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I saw you in Las Vegas, hits and shavers with everything but the kitchen sink.
And he could take a shot. He had that determination.
Jose Soto with a record of 23-9. Able to take a lot of shots himself. Arreola has unloaded on him several times with that big left.
Round 4 almost coming to a close. Arreola really landing punches. 3-1. As we said, has been fighting for a long time. Started fighting when he came to this country from Mexico, settled in Tampa with his family, and a lot of the younger people, teenagers, as they often do, make fun of someone maybe because they couldn't speak English or whatever, and that's how he began fighting and just learned to love the sport, and really a great prospect now. He's ranked 6th by the NABF and 7th by WBC, and he's hoping maybe for a title shot a little bit later down the line.
Augie Rodriguez trying to get Francisco in line for a USBA title shot. There's the uppercut you're talking about, partially blocked, but still, you're right, Larry, he didn't have the body behind it that's going to give it the force necessary for a potential knockout.
He's got to learn these things once he get up in there in this ranking at the end. He's got to learn that. If you fight for the title, not punching a guy, you can easily lose it. You got to take these guys out.
And Francisco Arreola, as we get ready for round 5 here, just one of several outstanding fighters down in the Challenger gym. Augie Rodriguez running the show down there, telling me one of his guys, Luigi Computero, ranked #1 by the USBA, fighting out there. As you see, Soto, just no offense whatsoever. 4 punches landed by our count in round 4. Luigi Computero out of the Challenger gym fighting Ray Mandel for the junior bantamweight title. And perhaps Francisco Arreola in line for a USBA shot within the next several months.
Arreola controlling the fight. He is in the yellow trunks, as if you haven't guessed it, as he lands some lefts and rights to the chin and upper body of Jose Soto. Arreola fights full time, but he's also a student at the University of South Florida. He has a double major, mass communications. He'd love to be a fighter, that's what he says. And also, his minor is in Spanish, a language he knows a lot.
Well, I tell you, if Soto's getting paid by the punch, it's going to be a tough night for him.
Look like you won't get paid tonight.
That's right. Arreola, a little bit frustrated, but I think probably a little bit mad. Francisco looks like he's really picked up the pace over the last 2 or 3 rounds.
Starting to see the effect now. Starting to take effect on Francisco. I mean, Soto's face.
Arreola coming in 125.5, 2 3/4 pounds more than Jose Soto. Francisco, a good-looking body, well proportioned.
See, what Francisco should do is put him in the middle of the ring and set him down and throw those punches on the side. You got to be careful with that. Take these guys lightly.
You're exactly right. Got hit with a pretty good left hand, and there was absolutely no reason for it. He got a little bit careless on a break there, and Soto shows you just how much experience he has. Very wily and seasoned character. He's going to do everything possible to try to come out of here with a win.
So far, that cut that Arreola suffered in his last fight, holding up, it hasn't opened up. There is a little redness there, but it seems to be okay. As we said, 7 stitches. The hands of Sonny Long. That happened in the 4th round, and Arreola really fought like a madman after that because he thought they were going to stop the fight, and he ended up winning a decision. He said he learned an awful lot, and Larry, you saw him fight against Sonny Long, and he said he learned more in that fight than most of his other pro fights.
Oh, yeah, he went to school to fight, you know, and no doubt about it, he learned a lot. These are the kind of fights that he needs. He fight like he fight back. He's going to be here and take those punches, and he's got to be careful with them.
We'll be back with more boxing right after these messages. Round 6 just about to get underway. Francisco Arreola in the yellow trunks against Jose Soto in the green. Referee is Frank Santuri has a word to both fighters before this round gets underway.
Through 5 rounds, I have Arreola a perfect 50 points. Soto 45. I think Frankie Santuri bringing the 2 fighters together based on what he saw at the end of round 5. They really squared off nose to nose. A couple of very tough looks thrown by both guys as now they turn those looks into action.
Here's a right hand that looked good, but actually Soto caught it with his glove.
And you're right, Larry, like you were talking about last round, this is experience that Arreola needs desperately because when he gets into world competition, that infighting is going to become a lot more important too.
That way when he meets it again, he'll be ready for it.
Because I guess it can be awfully frustrating not to be able to get any clean punches in. So awkward, good defensively, awkward in the sense of his style, but still, he's tough to hit.
Oh yeah, you know, one of the things Francisco's got to do, he's got to get back in the gym and learn how to punch right. And that way those punches will hurt. These fights will not last as long, and the fight, he won't have that much wear and tear on his own body. Because the longer the fight goes, the worse it is for him.
It's got to give a fighter like Soto a little hope when he takes all these punches, Larry, and you know, he figures maybe this guy can't hurt him and maybe he can land a lucky one.
That's right, that's what he goes for. He's there to stay.
Arreola picking up the pace. He's thrown a lot of punches throughout this fight. Picked it up though the first minute or so, minute and a half, like he might try and end it here at the 6th.
Referee Frank Santuri, words now with Jose Soto. I think he's telling him to please, you've got to show some offense. Make it a fight.
Well, we'll see too. Another thing, Soto's been lifting the leg of Arreola when they get in there in the clinches and doing some unusual things to break up the action.
Protect yourself at all times. Well,
he's using that head too. I tell you, he's a tough customer if nothing else.
There's no mouthpiece.
Let's see who that belongs to. It looks like it's Ariola's. I believe it is Francisco Ariola's mouthpiece. Now Frisco really a little irritated.
Soto just showing some disdain in a way and making Francisco a little angry as he goes without a mouthpiece. That's the end of round 6. Ariola looks for his mouthpiece, and the referee, Frank Santori, gives it to his corner. So, Larry Holmes, what do you think so far? It's been all Ariola, but the other guy's still alive, as they say.
Well, the other guy's there to stay. He's not going anywhere. He's just going to punch a bag tonight. Ariola's is not turning his hand over properly, not punching properly, so he's going to be there.
Well, I was just going to say, Ariola still winning a unanimous decision by my count, but that may be the bad news at this point because after 7 or 6 complete rounds, Soto's still in.
Still there. Not winning a round, but he's still there.
Here's some action now in the 6th round. Watch this body shot by Ariola. And that doubles up Soto, and he says, hey.
Round 7.
That is the rib wrecker. Francisco Ariola winding up with a big left hand. Time now, but once again, as we enter round 7, Soto answering the call.
4 more rounds to go. If you just joined us here from Jacksonville, we have the main event. Featherweights, Francisco Ariola leading this fight. Look at the stats now here as we show 458 compared to just 100 thrown by Soto. And he's landed 30% of his punches, and we think that he is certainly impressing the judges here tonight.
Ariola got in one very strong left hand in the flurry here. Nice job by Soto. Took a lot of the steam from Ariola's punches over there and then scooted away. Once again, Soto lifting Ariola somewhat. Frank Santori calling for the break, and now Ariola trying to get things going offensively again with that left hand.
Ariola said earlier that being the main event fighter carries a special responsibility, Larry. That's the guy that people come out to see, and he's trying his best to put on a good fight tonight.
Well, that's the people do come out to see the main event, no doubt about that. And Soto's trying to give him more money worth by just staying in there. But he would give him his money worth more if he throw more punches instead of taking them. And he just tried to throw it right hand that time, but Francisco was just too smart to get in with it.
Little cut over the bridge of Soto's eye. Looks like nothing serious. This round, a little over a minute to go. No fighter, neither one has been down on the canvas.
Francisco right in front of us, really loading up on those punches again, throwing the 1, 2, 3, left, right, left.
Referee Frank Santori finding it more difficult to get Soto to break because obviously he is tired. He hasn't been in danger as far as being knocked down, but he has taken a lot of punches.
Well, the clinches is where Soto wants to be at this point. He's going to do some damage in there inside. What damage he has done. Stop. Quick punches.
Stop. Let's go here.
Show that's what he's doing.
Soto really in a defensive posture. He has both hands just really in close to his body, trying to protect his chin as well.
Stop. Break.
Round 7 here in Jacksonville. Ben Cunillon and Barry Milligan and former champ Larry Holmes watching this bout. All right, the end of round 7 and another good round for the kid from Tampa who It looks like he's going to raise his record to 17-1-2, and he loves fighting in Jacksonville. Barry told us earlier that the fans here, he thinks, are especially knowledgeable. Sometimes we don't get sellout crowds, but the folks that show up, we see a lot of the same faces. They really love this sport.
Well, I think that's one reason we're fortunate enough time and again to have Larry Holmes come back to Jacksonville, having recognized the caliber of the fight fan and also the fighters in Florida to be able, you know, to come back and recognize the type of talent we have here.
Got a lot of talent, and people should come out and support it because it's great for Florida.
Francisco Arreola again with Jose Soto trapped in the corner, flailing away. This happening in the first minute of the round. It could have been a carbon copy of the first minute of each of the first 7 rounds. As Augie Rodriguez telling me Francisco Arreola was just in great shape, and he's showing it. He's thrown hundreds of punches here through 7 rounds and training in what they call the old style with Ben Getty down in Tampa. I tell you, working out with the weights, doing road work with weights, sit-ups, and if they don't have enough weights, Ben Getty will tie a brick on you. He's going to work you hard one way or the other.
Jose Soto, this for the 7th round. You can see how one-sided it is. Soto landing only 1 punch in that last round compared to 25 of Arreola. Arreola now just starting to measure his man a little more, and I'll tell you, you have to admire Soto. He is a tough cookie. He has taken so many punches.
He's a veteran fighter. He's been out there with them all, and he's just not going to lay down. And he's got to get it if he wants it.
Well, as we said before, it's fine, you know, to be a defensive fighter in the sense of Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler being defensive fighter. You can work your defense and avoid being hit, but at some point you have to turn on the offense, and perhaps the last minute or so at least work your offense to try and steal the rounds. Doing very little offensively to try and score any points.
Soto was counterpunch every so often. They were trying to catch him in the
Come on, don't grab me.
Francisco is a pro. He's not going to get that.
Larry, how do you think Francisco feels? He's thrown everything at this guy, and the guy's still standing there taking it. I mean, is he starting to wonder, hey, what's this guy made out of? Can I punch or what?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of doubt going into his mind, too, but he's got to realize this kid is a veteran. He's been out there with everybody out there, and he just fall out.
He didn't land any punches either.
Well, he may not have a world-class offense, but I tell you, he's shown that he has a world-class jaw.
It's kind of hard to knock out a guy when you don't want to be knocked out. If he wants to just survive, he survives. It's like he's doing. You get all of those two, you don't get a good shot, and he'll come up.
And that's what I believe has Arreola frustrated and has had him frustrated during this fight, is the fact that he hasn't been able to land that one clean shot that'll open things up. He's had a couple of 3 good lefts, but Jose Soto's just been a tough guy to hit. And about half the time when Arreola does hit him, Soto looks at him with either a shrug of the shoulders or shakes his head as if to say, is that all you got? And that can be very demoralizing for a youngster.
Round 7 winding down, just a few seconds left here, and what has been a very one-sided fight so far in favor of Francisco Arreola. Only 1 loss to mar his record. Great amateur career, almost 300 fights, and he won 268 of them. His last fight, a decision here in Jacksonville about 6 weeks ago against Sonny Long. There's a good shot of him as he takes a breather in his corner. And I tell you, for all the activity that he's had, all the punches he's thrown, he still looks pretty fresh.
Well, that's a credit to those 2 men right there. The man in the ring, Augie Rodriguez, Ben Getty outside. Once again, the left hand landing again there, and you saw Soto try the counter punching, but as you alluded to, Larry, Francisco, a good pro even with his youth, and he's just not going to be hit by the type of counter punches Soto's throwing.
He puts his body in the smallest position that he possibly put it in so that he don't get hit. As you know, Francisco go to him, he drops down and he makes his body real small, and that makes it harder to hit.
6 more minutes of boxing scheduled here in Jacksonville. This is the main event. Featherweights, Francisco Arreola, 125.5 pounds from Tampa, in against Jose Soto, 122 3/4. Soto in the green trunks, and so far he has been a catcher because he hasn't thrown many punches, but he sure has caught a lot of them. But he is a good defensive fighter, and he hasn't really taken many solid shots.
Another outstanding left by Arreola. Good straight left hand last time that scored. Soto actually coming out here, throwing the first punch of the 9th round. I think that's perhaps the only one we might see. Francisco, though, being patient as he should, fighting this veteran in Soto. Would have been easy for Arreola to really try and go all out and go for a knockout early on, but he's been content to get the work done. As once again, Soto, I believe, is going to get another point deduction for the shoulder. Yep. And oh boy, it looked as if Arreola might have taken the shoulder under that cut. He was a little bit concerned about it. Now, we could very well be facing a disqualification situation here. If Frank Santori stops action one more time, Soto may indeed be disqualified. That is the second time the fight's been stopped for a point deduction.
Arreola, you're right, Barry, looked very concerned after that butt there. He looked at his corner. He felt like, was there blood coming out of that cut, or what, or did he suffer a new cut? And the last time that happened here against Sonny Long, he really almost panicked because he thought they were going to stop the fight. And he really turned it up a notch. So let's see what he does here in this round.
Stop, break.
Well, the only damage obviously done throughout the fight in terms of offense by Soto has been with the shoulder.
Francisco hasn't slowed up at all, though. He's still fighting like he was from the first round. He's got a lot of conditioning. He's doing what he has to do.
That's a good left to the body. He was working the head there. Soto raised the defense just for a moment. Arreola coming in with a good left to the body.
All right, break. Come on, ladies.
That's where still goes punches to that body. Get that clean shot.
Nice left hand, lunging left and right. And Arreola both finding their targets. Very
Stop,
obvious,
break.
as you said, Larry, that he is not giving Arreola any punching room. He stays right on him, and that's why we've seen very few. In fact, he hasn't hardly traded punches with him at all. No flurries.
He throws that one punch and runs it. So there's no
We'll be back with a final round in just a moment. There it is. Shoulder by Soto. Referee Frank Santori penalizing Jose Soto twice now for stuff like that. Here it is, the 10th round, and it'll take a miracle for Soto to pull this one out in the main event here in Jacksonville.
Well, a miracle being a knockout punch.
Maybe Soto will go for that and get knocked out because that's what happened.
Arreola coming out much the same as he's done in each of the first 9. Oh, good left hook by Soto, which landed probably the first clean punch that Soto has landed since the second round.
There you see the tremendous advantage that Arreola has over Soto. 703 thrown, 204 landed, 29%.
26 punches landed. You can almost remember each and every one of those that was landed by Soto. He hit Arreola with a good clean left.
Larry, what is about you thinking now? Arreola knows that he's way ahead. Does he play conservative in this round?
I would only throw the punches when they're because he can
Very important here not to let your ego get carried away. Try and just stand toe-to-toe with a guy like this and see who's going to come out. You know you want to fight at this point. Just have the maturity to take the win. This would be the 17th win in 20 professional and 2 draws on his record.
Well, he said earlier today that he was going to box this guy. He knew he was top, so he said he needed to see some better. And I don't think he'll be disappointed to walk away with a unanimous decision, which will be his if he can last here just a few moments longer.
Well, having had a couple of months off, letting him this is probably a very good outing for him, getting 10 good rounds of action.
Oh, yeah, because he couldn't go back in the gym and box that cut, so he had to would have been if he wouldn't have had that cut from the last fight. So this is good for him. He needed a fight like this to come back and get himself back into that run again so he can continue on his way.
On his way being perhaps to a title shot in the United States Boxing Association. Perhaps in the next year or so, moving into the international ranks, having a top 10 ranking in the WBC and the IBF already.
Jose Soto, I get the feeling he can go 10 more rounds instead of staying there. This fight is just about over. And we're going to be back with a decision. Jacksonville, Florida, professional fighting. We just had our main event, and we're going to go to the ring announcer, Jack O'Brien, to find out who won our main event between Francisco Arreola and Jose Soto. And let's get the official decision.
We have reached a decision. Judge Howard Reichbach scores it 188. Judge Al Lombardi scores it 188. Judge Jim Aylesworth scores it 188. It is unanimous. Our winner, Francisco Arreola.
Francisco Arreola wins number 17, and he had a tough fight tonight. He really was in no danger, but Jose Soto, a wily veteran, 23-9, now falls at 23-10, and he really gave him all he could handle. All right, let's go to the ring now, and Barry Milligan as he talks with our winner of the main event. Barry?
July 7, Friday night.
Francisco Arreola pitching a shutout here tonight. A good performance for you after having a layoff.
You know, after the cut, I had to take a layoff, and I think that bothered me a little bit. I was so sure about my condition. I should have gone out and taken, because I mean, I'm not tired. Next time I'll do a better job.
Well, it seemed to be a little bit frustrating for you, Jose Soto. A little bit awkward, a tough guy to hit.
He's awkward, and I tried to take him out with the jabs. I mean, with the uppercut, as you saw. I hit him with some awesome uppercuts, and I mean, I figure he will go down, but I just rock him, and he just kept coming. You know how the Mexican fighters are. I know them.
Perhaps so. A good outing for you, being able to come in here and go 10 rounds tonight after having had the layoff. Good work, a good workout.
It shows that my condition is good. You know, I can tell you, I got the best people to work with me. We're gonna go back, and then we'll look at this film again, and then we'll work on what we have to do. I think we have to work is a little bit power. You know, setting up a little bit better. I set up for this Soto guy. I set up in the second round for a straight right hand, and I felt a shock through my hand, and I'm gonna go to the doctor and get it checked. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I'm sure it's okay. It's nothing big, but it was a big thing in my. It was bothering me. That's why I couldn't throw the big punches.
It seemed like the most damage Soto did to you was with the shoulder. He landed very few punches throughout, but was tough and tight.
You know, he was tight. He had an awesome defense. You know, I couldn't really get him clear, and he frustrated me at times. And you know, my corner people keep saying, set him up, and I keep setting him up. You know, I'm learning. I'm still learning. There's still a lot I have to work on.
There you see, taking one of those shoulders, obviously having to be a little bit concerned about that cut, not wanting a shoulder or a headbutt to perhaps open that back up.
I think I was watching too much for that. I was watching for that, you know, because I mean I already had one headbutt, and I think I'm kind of hesitant about going in and right now changing with these guys. So, I mean, I'm afraid this thing might reopen, and I hope the people that understand that next time I'm gonna give them a lot better performance.
We're showing great patience and perhaps a little bit of seasoning Augie Rodriguez with Luigi Computero fighting for a USBA championship, perhaps having another one fighting for a national championship in Francisco Areola. A winner here in Jacksonville tonight. Congratulations, Francisco.
Jacksonville. All right, thanks, Barry.
All right, Matt.
All right, thank you very much, Barry Milligan, along with the winner, Francisco Areola. He made it look easy tonight against the veteran Jose Soto. We'll be back with a wrap-up after these messages.